Family, do you know the government is tracking you?
We must face the moment of truth, baby.
Let's get into it here at 180 Truth. Family, welcome back to 180 Truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Well, we're going to get into some truth today thanks to John Stossel and this report that I saw on big data, how the government is tracking us, and why we should care. So I want to get into this video right here. My name is Dr. Honorio Chaparro, your brother minister, and I love to add value to your life. So please help me. Hit like, hit subscribe, go ahead and hit that notification bell so that when I post, because I don't post often, you can get the video so that I can add value to your life, and then you can comment, we can talk, and you can share. Let's get into it right here, right now. Let me share with you how, according to John Stossel in this report, the government tracks us. Thank you for being here at 180 Truth. Please continue to support the channel and get me a cup of coffee by going to simplyaviance.com, where you can get some fresh gear about faith, about coffee, about worship, men, women, seasonal gear. Listen, you sign up today. Guess what? You get 25% off your first order. Orders over $100, free shipping. Family, simplyaviance.com.
I want to know about everything that everyone is doing. That's unconstitutional.
This woman playing both judge and government agent is Naomi Brockwell, who used to work for me.
Wait, what are you doing? I'm buying data about everything that everyone is doing.
Brockwell's YouTube channel argues that tech companies and government violate the Fourth Amendment.
Who are you again? I'm the Fourth Amendment.
It gives us the right to be secure against unreasonable searches.
So you can't just collect and search all their information.
Let me ask you a question, family. I don't know about you, but have you been reading through the Declaration of Independence and your constitutional amendments and your rights, especially since the pandemic started? If you haven't, you should. It's a Google step away. Do it after the video.
That's awkward. I just did.
Her point is that our government now constantly spies on us.
Consumer data is being resold to companies that buy and sell data.
For the record, a lot of this really kicked into gear in 2001 with what happened on that fateful day on the 11th on the 11th of September. So so just to share that a lot of this really kick-started, but it's been in the works for a long time.
For the government.
Many people say this tracking us is a good thing.
It's not only good for the companies, it's good for the user because it makes for a much more seamless experience.
If you've forgotten where you've been or what you've searched for to get there, Google has your back.
These make my life easier.
Now that's the truth, right? The reality of it is this: the way that the enemy works best is by giving us some benefits. There are benefits to being, I hate to say it, another way, there are benefits to being part of the system, clear benefits, and saying no to those benefits so that you can be more free. Well, I think we would prefer to hope that nothing bad happens. It is grievous to think that something bad could happen. This news report that I'm sharing here, this report is grieving to you. I know it is. And so it's easy to put our heads back in the dirt, to hide, to ignore it, because the shock of it will make us deny the reality of it, because we grieve and we wonder what we can do. But remember, if you're a Christian, you are a man or woman of prayer. Prayer is always the order of the day.
Matters.
Convenience absolutely matters, but privacy is important.
Brockwell's videos are popular. Hundreds of thousands of people are watching them. They presumably are worried about their privacy. What's wrong with me? I don't care if they have this information.
I think you should care. Let's talk about the US government. They know what color underwear you like to buy and what kinds of videos make you just scroll a little bit slower. And
so what?
That data is forever. That data is stored in permanent records associated with your identity.
Data is money. That's why Google has so much of it.
This is in Utah, and you have no control over what regime might come to power tomorrow. You have no control over which hacker might get access to that data. You have no control over what societal norms might change in the next 10 years. And that data suddenly becomes incriminating. You're basically...
Think about what she is saying over the past several years now. Whenever somebody becomes too popular, moves too quickly, they dig up stuff about something they posted 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And suddenly, as soon as that post is up there, everyone's trying to cancel them. They suddenly become someone that is hated against and everyone virtue signals against. And it was something that they don't even believe in anymore.
making a bet that you and the people with the guns will always stay on good terms. And that is a bad
People
bet
with the
to
guns
make.
means the
The
government.
government, the people who have a monopoly on force, the people who have the ability to put you in jail. You're making a bet that you're gonna stay on good terms with them. And I don't think that's a reasonable bet to make.
It's hard for us to imagine that the government would actually turn on us, right? Yet, if you're a student of history, you already know how the government has allowed so many things within this nation to her citizens. I love this country. This country is amazing. I benefit from it so much. But the reality of it is that no family system, no structure, no nation is perfect. So let us learn from the past. And remember that if somebody will hurt somebody on the outside of the family, it doesn't mean they won't hurt somebody in the family. And so let's also pay attention to what the nation has allowed. And I say the nation, it's not everybody, but those who come into power, those who represent certain types of institutions, especially the ones that are making the money.
Because laws change all the time. Just look at abortion laws, right? Suddenly, overnight, abortion becomes illegal, and women who perhaps wanted an abortion, they went from being a law-abiding citizen to suddenly they were a criminal. This is a big deal. This is just an example of one law. What if they made cryptocurrency illegal? What if they made guns illegal? And everyone who partakes in that suddenly becomes a criminal.
I'm a public person. The government knows I criticize them.
Get out of my life.
So that's hilarious. Stossel's been doing that for years. But again, with that law regarding, starts with an A and rhymes with proportion, we see that, and there are actual states now where that is illegal and it can be criminal. That's unimaginable for a lot of us. And there are a lot of us that hold deep resentments. A lot of us are overjoyed. They're like, yay, we're saving babies. Whatever side you're on, notice that it's all about how and who is using government power and control. And if the government has its hand in all that data, all so much more power and control, we need to be concerned. But oftentimes, we're usually just sticking our heads in the sand and hoping that our side wins, as if our side is really on our side.
Privacy comes down to choice, right? It's not that I want everything that I do to remain private. It's that I deserve to have the right to selectively reveal to the world what I want them to see.
So don't sign in using Google. They don't need this information about you.
Privacy is fundamental to a free society. Look at any whistleblower, any NGO worker or human rights activist or a dissident or a journalist who's pushing back against an authoritarian regime. Look at what happened in China, in Hong Kong.
The Communist Party has now revealed a plan to bring Hong Kong to heel.
Hong Kong used to be a bastion of freedom.
When China crushed that freedom, the government used people's phones to track and punish protesters.
Wow.
And they're persecuting them. And now people are too afraid to do anything.
They used the phones. Family, your phone can be used against you. Remember that there was somebody, I don't know if I can say him without getting this video banned, but there was somebody recently, a couple of years ago, showed how the phones were being used to track and listen in on everything you're doing. And we just accept it. I just get the feeling sometimes that we are like that we're like that crab that is sitting in a pot eating corn while it's being cooked alive.
Political freedoms have been eroded.
It's easy for government to track people because the apps on our phones record where we are and more.
I've been watching you.
Who gave you permission to record me?
You did, boo. When you downloaded this app, you gave the app permission to access your camera.
Wait, so just giving an app permission to use the camera means that they can record me whenever they want?
But once you grant us technical access, baby, you're just relying on the honor system.
Think about all the apps on your phone that you've given permission to access your camera.
Facebook was caught activating a phone camera. But here Google's boss reminded Congress it's the customer's choice.
If you're using a fitness application, which is detecting the number of steps you walk, you expect it to send that information. But it's a choice users make.
You've probably given...
You see that? You see how the devil works? You signed it over. You signed over the fine print. We just saw the Hollywood strikes that happened and the writers strike, the actors strike. Why? Because when the fine print, the stuff, the most basic lie most of us make is that we check off the box when it says you have read these terms and conditions. Most of us don't have the time to sit there and read through that tiny print, so we just click on it in the hope. And I would say one of the stages of grief is shock and denial. And so in the denial, because we're grieved, in the denial that the reality is that we don't have a clue as to what we just signed over.
Permission, you've given microphone permission, camera
so
permission.
They work better.
So you're happy with one of these obscure apps where you know nothing about the developers to be able to look through your private photos?
I don't think they want to look at my private photos.
And that's the presumption you're making.
If they know where I am, they can recommend a car repair shop near me or a restaurant near me. I like that.
I think that it's creepy personally, but it goes further than that. These companies have a whole business model of selling that data. You have no idea where it ends up. It could be ending up in the hands of the Chinese government. It could be ending up in the hands of, hackers on the dark web who want to target you with phishing scams. It could be ending up in the hands of political regimes who want to target you with specific content to get you to think in a certain way, to get you to hate certain people.
China is trying to interfere in U.S. politics and try to stir up tensions.
And you're probably oblivious that any of this stuff is going on.
Oblivious unless we notice how specifically they market to us.
Target's advanced advertising system even knew about a teenage girl's pregnancy before she could break the news to her own father.
The only time I get freaked out is when I suddenly see an ad and it's like, oh my God, were they just listening to me?
They were.
How did they know to send me this?
They are.
They know.
But they're not listening to me.
Did you give them permission to access your microphone?
Probably.
Probably. They might be listening to you. Let me have a look at your phone. I want to see what apps you have on your phone.
Wow.
We'll take a look. See, I mean, you have so many apps on your phone right here, John. If I were you, I would delete almost all of these apps. First of all, because...
Are you guilty, family? Are you guilty? Are you feeling concerned? What are we going to do about it?
Like them.
I know you like them, but you're taking your phone around with you everywhere you go. It's an intensely personal device. The government is purchasing all this data about us. They're creating records about all of us, and that's a really scary thing.
In a future video, I'll show you which apps she told me to delete. And I took some of her suggestions. Maybe you should too.
Wow. Wow, family. So what do you think, family? I want to say to you that this kind of stuff concerns me. I'm going to have to look into more of what she has shared. I'm going to go into this part 2, what Stossel shared. I just want to remind you, family, that the Word of God makes it clear that when people have all this power, they might be all right, but usually the next generation isn't. I'll just remember the children of Israel when they were in Egypt. When they were in Egypt, they were okay. They were good. They were there in a relationship with the Pharaoh. But then it says that a Pharaoh came to power that did not remember Joseph. So this was a Pharaoh who came. We don't know where they came from, how they ascended to the throne. But when he ascended, how he looked at the children of Israel was very different than the one who came after him. But the one who came, or before him rather, the one who came before him, well, he was still able to use that power. And he used that power to have incremental levels of oppression and consolidating his control by using the Israelites as an object of fear. So he consolidated control by projecting that the Israelites were the evil ones, and then he used the system to create oppression and attempt genocide. So family, my question to you is this. You may think your politicians are cool, and if you've been watching the news, you know most of them ain't. If you love this government and love this nation and you're concerned about your own freedoms into the future, then start being aware, first of all, in prayer. Start being aware that there are principalities and powers. Start being concerned about those who have the power and they're selling it, and to who, family? Because at the end of the day, well, do you really trust people with all that information?
Now you know the truth.
And now you know what to do, family. Hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment, family, and please share. Let's talk about it here at 180 Truth. God bless.